Hello guys, welcome back to Game Development Tutorials. Today, as I promised last episode, we are finally doing enemies! Yay! These will be very basic ones. I do not think that we'll be shooting yet, because that's a bit complicated. But before we start, let's just show you what we did last episode. We just modified this jet engine effect. Why I say modified is because we didn't make it. We downloaded it and then modified some changes to it. So yeah, today we are doing the actual enemies. So, first let's just get the enemy model. So we can just click on this asset store tab. Yet again, like I say, almost every video we do that by clicking on window and then asset store. Let me just demonstrate this. Window, asset store, and it will just automatically dock it right here. Okay, then let's search for droid. I think I have a model for this that I want. So, in order to get free assets, we can just drag this slider all the way so it says 0 to 0, or we can type it in, or we can toggle the free assets button. And then to make it actually go, we just click this arrow right next to it. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to use this droid. You can find any droid online. I actually have a couple of websites for 3D models. These links will be in the description if you want to use them. So you can just search up a spaceship or something. Some are free, some aren't on this site. Then you'll get all these spaceships. Then you can just download them and then drag the folder into Unity. I'm going to do a little demonstration with the free one. So I'm just going to go to another tab, spaceship, enter. This one looks cool. You hover over it and just press download 3D model. And then you can just click on this. Then it will automatically download it. It might take some time, but it shall download. While that is going on, I'm just going to hop back into Unity, click on the space droids, then wait for that to load. Then, yet again, you will see a download button. You just want to click that. And then, once it's finished downloading, you will see an import button appear. Then, you just want to click that. Then, it will take you to this. There's really nothing special with it. It's just a spaceship model. So then, let's just hit import. Let's import it, and there we go. You'll see these two warnings pop up. I don't really know what they mean, but they really don't affect anything from my experience. So yeah, so let's just go back into the scene tab. Then we can go under free droid folder and then drag in bake. And it looks beautiful. And yet again, we just want to unpack this prefab. So we can just select it, right click on it, and say unpack prefab completely. Let's just rename this to enemy. And then this looks a little bit big. So yep, here are the graphics. I think we can just drag the graphics out and then delete this empty object. That's the enemy. So now we'll be left with just the graphics. And the graphics object, in this case, it's called default. It will not always be called default. because you can rename it to whatever you want. But we are just going to rename this to enemy spaceship. And there it is. Now we can just shrink it down to maybe 0.5 on the X, 0.5 on the Y, and 0.5 on the Z. That looks better. Okay, good. Okay, this looks good. And we just want to add two more actually, components to it. We just want to add a mesh collider. And it's basically like a box collider, except better. And you will see why. So let's just add that. We just want to check convex. And you will see these lines appear. So, why a mesh collider is better than a collider is because a box collider, you actually have to specify the shape and you cannot really get it exact. But with a mesh collider, the shape is almost exact. And sometimes when you add a mesh collider, let's just say to this, it will work for this. But if I add it to like a camera or something, it will not work. And that is because you have to add a mesh collider to something that has a mesh renderer on it. Okay, so now for the last component that we have to add a rigid body. Not a rigid body 2D, a rigid body. So we can freeze the Y position, so now it cannot go up and down. And we do not want to use gravity, because it's a top-down game. In that, we just want to freeze all of the rotation by checking all of the boxes below. Now we can add our enemy script. Okay. And I believe, yep, it has finished downloading. So if we just open that up, press show in folder, double click on this to open it up, you will see a ship zip. And we can just open that. And make sure that it's an OBJ STL. But it has to be a file that Unity supports, so it cannot be a RAR or a RAR. I don't think, in my experience. So now we can just go back to the ship.zip, press extract all. This will just extract to download folder, so I'm just gonna delete it afterwards anyway, so I'm not gonna be using this. Press extract. And there it is, but you'll notice that the actual ship is not extracted. So we have to go inside that folder, and yet again press extract all. And it'll do the same thing. We can just close all of these windows, go into Unity, open up your folders, go to your downloads or wherever it downloaded the spaceship to, double click on the spaceship folder, double click on the source, and then drag the ship folder under assets. And then, if I can find the folder, here it is. And if we drag this into the scene, it's a spaceship, but it does not have color though. So, what we can do, we can go back into our folder, go to the actual spaceship zip, or not spaceship zip, but spaceship, then drag that whole folder in. And it will take some time to load. That's because there's an unextracted zip in there. Okay, here we go. Yep, it's right here. So we have to delete this zip file. We can just delete that. And now, when we drag the ship in, it's still white, but under the textures, there are some textures. Then you will notice that we can drag them on, but it will look weird. So, what we can do to fix that weirdness is we can go under Materials, right-click, create material, call this spaceship, and then drag the spaceship material on here. Then under the albedo slot, so if you just click on the circle next to albedo, it will come up with this massive drop list, and be able to search albedo, and we just want to click on albedo ship. Then that's starting to look good. I believe it also has metallicness, so we can just click on this metallic slot next to metallic. Then we can just search up metallic and click on the metallic ship. I think it has a normal map. So we can just click on the dot next to normal map, search up normal map, normal ship. I don't think it actually has one. Let's just do normal ship, post whatever that says. We can just press fix now. It won't really do anything that much, but it will do something. Then, as you can see, if you go really close, it has this metallicness and shininess. So yeah, that is how you just get your spaceship into Unity through another file. But I am not using the spaceship, so I'm just going to delete that, the color, the ship folder, then the actual spaceship folder. Okay. That is, but that's not it yet. This rest will be pretty quick. We can just add our new script. This will just be called enemy movement. And let's just press enter, enter. What that means is it will create a new script and it'll hit create and add. That's just how you do it quicker. Now, we can just drag this newly created enemy script into the scripts folder. Now to actually open it when it's done compiling, so when this little buffer symbol hides, then we can just double click on the enemy movement script and it will open up in Visual Studio. Whew, okay. Normal procedure, delete the update and start function, which I just like to start fresh. Okay, so now we can say float, which is the variable that we'll be using for the speed. So we can just call this variable move speed, and then you can assign it a value. I am not, so I'm just going to end that line with a semicolon. Remember, that's basically the period of programming languages. Okay, so now we can just make our update function. So this function will update every frame. So by actually making the function, we can say void update, then just hit enter for autocorrect. You'll see that it has this private void update. I personally do not like private void. So I'm just going to delete that. Okay, well, I'm just going to close this folder and just delete these files because I will not be using them. Now, we can just say it's the same thing with our enemy movement. So we can just copy that, go back into our enemy movement, and Control V. So we can just change this speed to move speed, but you will notice now that the enemy will move to the side and not forward. So we can just copy this, Control C, then in that place do 0F. we want to move it on the positive z-axis, so it goes forward. So instead of 0 up there, in the last slot, we'll write move speed multiplied by time dot delta time. And that actually should be it. So we can just go back into Unity, and a new move speed variable will pop up. Maybe set that, let's see, maybe to 20, maybe 30. Then we can just move this all the way back here and rotate it on the Y by 180 so it just flips around. Now, when we press play, the enemy should just move closer to the player, just like that. I'm definitely going to turn on the move speed, something like 8 maybe. Now if we press play, it'll move a lot slower. We can still not make it shoot and die yet, but that'll be for the next episode on game development tutorials. Bye guys, I hope you have enjoyed. See you in the next video. Bye.